Hey, it's Gil from
The Mind Buzz Podcast.
today's Mind Culture and Social Podcast. And you're listening to Pods Like Us.
Hello and welcome to Pods Like Us. I'm Martin Quibell, known to my friends as Marv, and this time I am speaking with Morgan Docherty from Doh'cast, which is a fabulous new podcast all about the world of The Simpsons. Hey Morgs, thanks for speaking to me today.
No problem, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
It's great, thank you very much. So, how were you first introduced to podcasts?
So I've just always loved podcasts, like listening to them. So the first couple of podcasts that I really listened to, they were quite like big ones and well-known ones. So I have had a love for YouTube, so I used to watch a lot of YouTube. And there's a guy called Doh'cast. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yep.
Yeah, so he does quite in-depth podcasts for people, like crime podcasts. He does a thing called True News as well, where he just talks about all the news on YouTube. And I was just really into YouTube at the time. So this was probably about 3 or 4 years ago that I got introduced to podcasts. Another great one that I love is Happy Hour as well, Jack Makes Happy Hour. And that's sort of what inspired me to set up my my first podcast, which is the Untitled Chronicles, where we just talk about like crime and like different things. We talk about relationships and things like that.
Okay, so what got you starting that show then, the one about true crime?
Yeah, so most of my mates just love true crime. Like I do criminology at uni, so I thought like I know so much about true crime, like I could just sort of share my knowledge with other people, and it wouldn't feel too hard. Like it would be fun doing it as well. So I just thought it was a good way to sort of get my knowledge out there. That's just something I love doing as well.
Going from that then, how did you decide then to start a second podcast that you're starting soon about The Simpsons?
Yeah, so I was actually watching old episodes of the US Office, and I realised they have like an accompaniment podcast where they basically watch an episode of The Office and they talk about it. So I thought like it would be a great idea. Like The Simpsons is my favourite show, so I thought I'd love to do the same with The Simpsons and get people on from the actual show who wrote for The Simpsons, who starred in The Simpsons. So I thought it would be a great idea to do that.
I think that's a great idea. And just as an aside, a couple of the other people I've invited to follow you include Matt Groening's page and Yeardley Smith and a couple of the other people who do voices as well.
Yeah, well, we've actually got Yeardley Smith coming on, who's the voice of Lisa Simpson. So that's going to be great. So we're hopefully going to watch a Lisa episode with her.
Yeah, that's cool. So have you actually got a specific format in your head already?
Yeah, so basically we're going to start off obviously on season 1, episode 1, which is the first episode. We're not going to watch, we could do a separate episode where we watch, the Tracy Ullman ones where they're quite dated and they're quite old now, the animation style. But we were going to start on series 1, episode 1, which is actually the Christmas one. I'm pretty sure that came out in 1989. So we're going to start on that one. And we're just going to get people who worked on the episode, get each episode. Then we're going to talk about like how it's a famous episode, the cultural impact of the episode.
Yeah, a cool one to do with the Tracy Ullman episodes would be, I mean, this is pie in the sky, obviously, but if you had Matt himself as a guest, I'm sure he'd probably love to talk about those, and it'd be nice to ask him how he thinks it changed from that to how it changed for when they started the show properly as a show on its own.
Yeah, that would be insane if I got him on. That would literally be a dream. But I've got sort of like a fun fact about Series 1. So the last episode of Series 1 that's there is called, I think it's called Some Enchanting Evening. Yeah. And it's basically where Marge and Homer go out on a date and the kids are left behind to be babysat. And it's quite a dark episode. I think she tries to rob them and she's like seen as like a murder on the TV and stuff like that. But that was actually the first Simpsons episode produced, but they thought it was too dark to air. So they aired the Christmas one first.
Wow. But then again, they do that with a lot of programs where they'll film an episode and then they'll put them out not in the order that they were produced. I mean, that happens so much in television anyway.
Yeah, they make them out of order. I know. I think like Doctor Who does that as well. They just do it in a random order.
It's just a standard method. Like it goes from the world of film as well. Films are shot out of sequence, and the same thing really. So, why do you think the show is so popular and still going now after, 32 years? Yeah,
see, that's what we want to talk about, and we want to find out. The cultural impact is so like massive. Like you go in like most shops, there's something with like Simpsons branding on. It's insane. Like there's like theme parks after it. There's like food after it. So we just really want to like explore the cultural impact of it and see like as you asked, like why.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely inspirational. I mean, the amount of things that have been inspired from it, you could look at how before The Simpsons, programming animation was mostly seen as a thing for children or families to watch together, whereas after The Simpsons, you started to get programming for teenagers or adults. So you've got the South Parks, you've got the King of the Hill, even Family Guy. I mean, all of these programs, they are all inspired, I believe personally, from what The Simpsons started.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, and you even got like jokes in South Park and in Family Guy that they literally say like, because of The Simpsons, like we happened. Like there's an episode of South Park and it's called The Simpsons Did It, and it's just about the characters trying to do different things in the episode, but then they're just like, oh, The Simpsons already did this because they've basically done everything.
Yeah, but then I've seen actual Simpsons characters in Family Guy as well.
Yeah, they do have that in Family Guy as well.
Yeah, and
they have that in South Park as well. They all like cross over, and there was an episode, I think it was like 2016 maybe, where there was an actual Family Guy Simpsons crossover. So the Family Guy people went to Springfield, and it was a whole like 2 episodes set in Springfield. And it's quite like a dark episode because Family Guy has more of like dark humor than The Simpsons.
Absolutely. Was that actually on part of The Simpsons, or was it part of the Family Guy? I can't remember.
Yeah, so because it was such like obviously dark humor, The Simpsons is kind of like pretty sure The Simpsons rated like, I don't know what you'd call it in America, but it's rated like a 12 here, right?
Yeah.
And Family Guy's like 15, so it was set in the Family Guy aired it in their season, so it wasn't in The Simpsons season.
I think I caught a bit of that when it was on, actually. A little bit of
it's
that.
Pretty good, and I'm quite a fan of Family Guy, but obviously not as much as The Simpsons.
Same here.
Hello, everybody. This is Ryan.
This is Avery.
And we are from the Frame by Frame King Crimson podcast. And you are listening to Pods Like Us.
So, dear me, here you go. Here's a difficult one. What would you say is your favourite episode of The Simpsons then? If you could pick one.
Yeah, that's okay. So if I could pick one.
Mind you, perhaps we ought to let you pick 10 of them or whatever, maybe.
Yeah, so I've got a list of 10, and they're kind of in order, but it's very difficult. So I went through, because I think The Simpsons is amazing, like like flawless from series 1 to I'd say series 11. Then there's sort of, I think people won't mind me saying, there's sort of a dip in sort of writing and quality, which is fine. Like when a show's like been going for so long, that's obviously going to happen, and it's natural to have changes. But most of like all of my episodes are from, I'd probably say series 1 to 8. I think that's like the golden years.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah.
Yeah. So number 10, it's a series 1 episode, I believe. It's Homer's Night Out. So I don't know if you remember this one, but he goes on a night out, and there's like a belly dancer there, and Bart sees him and he takes a picture of him. And then I think Marge sees it, but it's just a really great episode.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Number 9 is you'll probably notice a lot in this list is there's a lot of flashback episodes. So I love the episodes where Marge and Homer are just getting together, or the kids have just been born. I think they're really great episodes. So this one is The Way We Was, and I think this explores how Homer and Marge first met.
Yeah, I love those. I think they're sweet. But it's weird because nowadays, so back in the original series, it looks at Homer and Marge getting together in, say, the 70s or the late 60s. But if you look at flashback episodes now of them getting together, they're getting together in the 80s, and it's just so strange.
Yeah, so that's like the thing with it. Like everything, like culture and everything moves along, the time moves along, but they stay the same. It's a cool concept, but it must be difficult to do because there's going to be so much continuity, but obviously you can't take it how it is. So number 8, I've got Dog of Death. So I really love this one because it's just the one where I think Santa's little helper needs some surgery.
Yeah.
And they have to go to like beg Mr. Burns for like money and stuff. But I just think it's a great episode. It's an early one as well. I think that's season 3.
Yeah.
7, I've got Secrets of a Successful Marriage. So this is one where Homer teaches a class on like how to be in a successful marriage, and it's just a really funny one. It's a great one. Number 6, like to be fair, this probably should be lower down because this is one of my. I could have probably put this top 3, but it's Lisa's Wedding. So this is like a flash forward one. This is a really great one. I don't know if you remember that one.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's weird when they flash forward to when they're older. Yeah, they're strange, those episodes, aren't they?
Yeah, and it's just one where I think Lisa's marrying a British guy, but he doesn't really like get on with Homer and the family, and it's just there's a really great bit of the wedding where Homer gives the husband to be like these cufflinks to wear, but he doesn't want to wear them, and it's just a really great episode. I think like the best episodes of The Simpsons are ones that just have meaning and just have like an emotional impact. Like it has to have a message, I think, to be like a great episode.
Absolutely, yeah. But then again, I mean, it's like a hyper version of the old family sitcoms from back in the day, anyway. The Simpsons, and so it follows the same sort of thing where most of the best episodes of those had a moral background to them. So I think
it's like there's actually an episode where I don't know if you've seen it, where George Bush becomes the neighbor, the Simpsons neighbor.
Yeah.
It's just a really funny one. It just reminds me because the actual president at the time, George Bush, and his wife, I have no idea what her name is, but they were actually like complaining about The Simpsons. They hated The Simpsons because it was such like anti-American family, and they just hated it.
Yes, I remember that. I saw a program about where they mentioned that on a program about Barbara.
And
Bush,
this is Barbara Bush. That's it. This is my 5th pick. So this probably could have gone way lower down, and you'll probably know it as well from that picture of it where he's in the power plant. It's called Maggie Makes 3, and he's in the power plant, and he has to go back to work at the power plant. He gets his dream job in the bowling alley, but because Marge is having another baby, he has to go back to the power plant.
Yep.
And he has to go crawling back to Mr. Burns, and Mr. Burns puts a sign up, and it says, "Don't forget, you're here forever." And then he just uses all the pictures of Maggie around it, and it says, "Do it for her." And I just think it's a really great episode.
That's lovely, and that's sweet, that as well. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, they're definitely the best kind of episodes. Number 4 I've got is Lisa's first words. It's another flashback one. I think I've got like 3 flashback ones in this list, so this is the last one. But Lisa's first words, yeah, and her first word is Bart, which I think was nice.
Yeah, I think that's nice. Yeah.
And a third one. This is a really early episode. I'm pretty sure this is season 2, but I think this is one of the first ever episodes I actually seen. I remember watching it on like VHS, and it was I think it's season 2, like early season 2. It's called One Fish, Two Fish, Blowfish, Bluefish. It's quite
Yes.
a tongue twister.
Yeah.
It's an amazing episode. So they go to a restaurant, and Homer eats this like deadly fish that they've cooked wrong, and he thinks he's going to die. But I just think it's such like an emotionally impactful episode.
Yeah, that's one of my favourites actually.
Yeah, it's such a sad one as well because like he just thinks he's going to die and he's sat in the chair like waiting to die. But it's a great one.
It is. Yeah.
And we've got then at number 2, it's another Homer one. See, I always put the Homer ones pretty high. So it's Homer the Heretic. So I don't know if you remember this one, but it's where when he stops deciding to go to church.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he stays at home and he sees God, and I think there's a fire in his house, and Flanders helps him and saves his life. I think the Homer Flanders episodes are really great as well. I love the one where they go to Las Vegas.
Yes, I like that one as well. And I love the characterization and the look of God as well in The Simpsons. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's great. How you can't see his face as well. That's really good.
Yeah, it is.
So number 1, very difficult to pick. So I have a joint one. I know it's cheating, but so a joint one is Bart sells his soul and the mysterious voyage of Homer.
Yeah.
So I think they're both amazing. So the Bart sells his soul one, and I remember watching that one as a kid, and it actually freaked me out, like the way that I think there's a bit where he tries to walk through like an automatic door, and because he sold his soul to Milhouse, like he can't actually walk through the door, and that bit just sort of freaked me out as a kid. I don't know why, but and then obviously the mysterious voyage of Homer. It's about he goes to the chili cook-off. He takes a chili, and he's like in this weird land. I think he's got Johnny Cash as well as the coyote in that, and it's really great like voice work. And the coyote tells him to find his soulmate, and at the end he doesn't think it's Marge, and then you find out that it is Marge, and I just think it's a really great episode. Well, so that was my top 11 really.
Well, the coyote says to him, because he says, Marge is my soulmate, and the coyote says, because we only watched that episode yesterday, and so the coyote says to him, are you sure that it's Marge?
Yeah.
And I think that puts the question into Homer, and he starts to question it, and then Marge responds to something in a certain way, not believing that this has happened. And then eventually, at the end of the episode, it's lovely because it's sort of like, there's the realization in him that, he was right originally, that she is actually his soulmate. And that's another lovely thing about the family, that they are such a close family that, it's sort of a warped truth in a way that is the perfect family, essentially.
Yeah, it's always like the anti sitcom that goes against all the traditional norms. Is like that is the one that's most truthful. Like, because you got things like, I don't know, like what's that really cheesy one like from the 80s or the 90s? Full House. You've got Full House, which is like super cheesy and obviously not like realistic. And then I think you've got one like have you seen Married with Children?
Yeah.
It's more like a realistic one as well.
Yeah, I used to watch Married with Children when it first came out.
It's another really good show.
Absolutely.
Hey, this is Brian with Concerts That Made Us podcast, and you're listening to Pods Like Us, a great show about other great shows.
So, actually, this one brings to mind something else. Okay, so famous people who have been on the show. There are so many of them. I mean, I think you've seen on my notes that I've pointed out that 3 of the Beatles have been in it.
Yeah.
And it brought to mind, I think No Doubt have been on the show as well, haven't they, as characters?
I think they have. I think they actually played like a song in the show. I know Sonic Youth have played a song in the show. I'm pretty sure. The Who have been in the show as well. Oh yeah, the one with the Beatles with Paul McCartney and his and Linda McCartney. That's the least of the vegetarian one, isn't it? Because Linda McCartney's had that range of vegetarian products.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that's a really good episode.
But the no doubt one, that makes me sort of smile, because you think to yourself, there's no doubt there, and Gwen Stefani's brother is one of the chief animators of the Simpsons, Eric Stefani.
Yeah, well, I can't remember what episode she's in now. Though I can have a quick look. It must be a later one, right?
I think he joined in the. I don't know which episode she's in, but I think he joined. About 92, 93, or might even be later than that.
Oh yeah, they're in the episode, the Homer Palooza episode. I think this is the one with Sonic Youth as well.
Yeah.
And he goes on tour and he takes like cannonballs to the chest. I think as like he goes on tour with all the bands. I remember that one. I think that's like a season 7 one. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because I remember Eric left when they were just getting famous, Eric Stefani, and because he got offered the job of animator on The Simpsons. And like I said, I just find it funny that technically he's animating his own sister.
Yeah,
for an
that's
episode,
cool.
you know.
Yeah, they look really good in the animation as well. It looks pretty like accurate to the actual band.
Well, you would have thought so. I mean, he spent that much time with them. You'd have thought he'd know everything.
Yeah,
about
true.
them. Yes.
Oh, I'd love to like have a member of the like Simpsons animation animate me. It would be insane.
It really would.
That'd be like another dream.
Oh, Louise at the side of me says that one of her favourites is Fat Tony.
Fat Tony, yeah, Fat Tony's great. There's an episode in series 3, I'm pretty sure, called Bart the Murderer. That one's a great one. I think that's when Fat Tony's first introduced. But they get Bart like working for them, and it's a really good episode.
Yeah, should send a friend request to Joe Mantegna then, shouldn't you? I suppose because he's Fat Tony.
Yeah.
Oh, connection to your other show there, because Joe Mantegna, Criminal Minds.
Yeah, true.
True. So, have you got a specific favourite character or favourite characters from The Simpsons?
Yeah, so my favourite character is probably Lisa, to be fair. I just really like Lisa. She's kind of like the voice of reason in the whole show.
Yeah.
But second to that, I do love Ned as well, Ned Flanders.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm probably, I'm not a massive fan of like Mr. Burns. I don't know why. Like, he's funny, and I love the episode. I think it's like the Rose. It's called like Rosebud, where he's got that bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably another great episode. But I don't know, if I had to choose my least favorite Simpsons character, it'd probably be Mr. Burns.
What do you think of what's happened with the character of Apu?
Yeah, I understand it, but again, like you could say, like, because every single character on that show is a stereotype, so I get both sides of it. Like, I see both sides of it, but like I know people who aren't offended by it, who have like the same heritage as Apu, and like I know that like it started in like 1989, and I think even if it started now, like they're all stereotypes, so I don't see why they had to like take him away, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean they're all really caricatures, so it's for humour purposes anyway, and I don't think they were particularly offensive to those people in any way, really. I thought all along that they were, you know, I didn't think there was no racism in there at all that I can see. No,
yeah, there's no racism in there. They're all just like very like hyper stereotypes, but that they do that for every single character. You've got like Ned next door, who's like obsessed with the Bible. Like you've got you've got like Fat Tony as well, who's like a mobster. Obviously not like, he's Italian, so like not all Italians are mobsters. That's like the stereotype of it, so that's why they do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So if you could come up with a new character for The Simpsons, what would they be like?
Oh, that's a good episode. I think I'd probably I'd give Lisa more of a best friend. I know she has she kind of has friends in like some episodes, but they're never like Milhouse. You know, they're never like always there. Like Milhouse is always there as Bart's best friend. So I'd probably give Lisa like a best friend.
Yeah. Have you got a characterization for that best friend, or should we just leave it there?
I don't know. It's a hard one. I think the best friend, they'd be like more outgoing and sort of encourage Lisa to be more outgoing herself.
Absolutely.
Maybe like the complete opposite of Lisa, but they'd still be best friends.
I'm Agent Scott.
And I'm Cam the Provocateur.
And we're from the Spy Hards podcast.
That's right, and you are listening to Pods Like Us, the podcast that also has the Midas touch.
So, have you actually recorded any of your episodes already then for the show?
So we haven't recorded any yet, but we've got all of the structure. We've got like all of the episodes planned out, and we've got all the guests probably got all the guests for like series 1. To be fair, like there's 13 episodes in that one, so we probably got enough to fill the first season. But yeah, we're gonna start recording. I think like mid-June we're gonna do, and then by the time the first episode comes out, we should have all the episodes of series 1. So that's good.
That's great. That's good. I mean, I try to do that with mine. I try to have a large clump of the episodes ready before the actual date of the first episode goes out, because that way you're not chasing yourself then, because as you know from your other podcast, it's very easy to get behind on these things.
Yeah, it's definitely better to try and have it pre-recorded, but then you never know like what's going to happen. Like you might have to rearrange with people, or like I've had some, like even when it's some of my friends, like I feel like it's kind of worse when you run a podcast with just your mates, because they can more easily go like, oh, not today, we'll do it tomorrow, not today, we'll do it tomorrow. As in like when you have a guest though, like you kind of have a set time and you know you're going to do it at this time. It's kind of easier that way.
So will this Simpsons one then, will that be the first time that you've actually had to speak to a guest? And then
so on my original podcast, the Untitled Chronicles one, I had the Bub and Gob show. I don't know if you know them from Instagram.
Yeah, I know those. Yeah.
So I had them on a podcast. So I had them on it. That was pretty fun. We were just talking about like American snacks and like our favorite movies and stuff. So that was a cool one. But I've set the podcast up like originally intending to be like a crime podcast, but we always just tangent off on different things. Like we have a lot of conspiracy episodes. Actually, that's a big one we have. Like I know, like when you think like they're like done to death because everyone does a conspiracy video, but we have like music conspiracy ones. We're doing a movie conspiracy one soon. So you've got like movies like Poltergeist and The Exorcist. We're gonna hopefully do stuff like that. But yeah, we love a good conspiracy video on the Untitled Chronicles.
Wow. If you get to talk to Guilford the Mind Buzz, he would probably bring up the Shining and things like that, because he's very much into those sort of things.
Yeah, that would be great. And yeah, we do as well. Like we try and do like comedy ones. We've done like a few classic game shows. So we've done, Would I Lie to You?
Yep, I know that one. Yep.
Yeah, we've done that. We've done Desert Island Discs, which is like a Radio 2 or Radio 4 show, I'm pretty sure. And we've done that. We've done a Room 101 as well, which is going to be going out in a couple of weeks.
That's brilliant. But that's good when you mix up when you've got a podcast, and then you can mix it up and try to play with the structure and put something different into it. It makes it interesting.
Yeah, that's kind of where like the name comes from, like the Untitled, because I just had no idea what to call it, because I knew it was just going to be tangents of like random episodes and stuff.
Most podcast shows go on tangents anyway.
Yeah, that's true. No, but it's super fun, like doing it with you, like doing a podcast like with your friends. It's great.
So how do you record and edit your shows?
So because of obviously the pandemic and everything, we've been doing most shows over Zoom.
Yep.
Only recently we've been doing our shows in person. We try and record like every other Thursday really for the main podcast one, because we've got a couple in. We've got maybe like we're 3 or 4 weeks ahead in advance. So now we record like every other Thursday just to get a pod out for a couple of weeks time, and we can do it in person now, so that's good. But yeah, the first ever podcast that we did in person, because this was when we had the tier system, so you were kind of allowed to do stuff, but then you weren't.
Yeah, man.
So we had a couple of episodes where we got to film in person, which was great. And I feel like the ones you film in person are just so much better. But the Zoom ones are like really fun as well to do. And obviously, like because of the people that I'm going to get on the Simpsons one, they're probably going to be like in America, so we're going to have to do them ones over Zoom. And the time difference is going to be interesting as well. And to edit, to edit them as well. I'm not really that much of a great editor because I've just sort of started out. So I use the Anchor. It's like Spotify's official partner for podcasts.
Yeah.
So I just use that, so it's a lot easier. So I can just sort of trim the audio down and put the bits in that I want to put in. But yeah, I'm just sort of like, I haven't been doing it too long, so I'm just trying to figure out the editing stuff. Yeah, so editing is like the bit that I find most tricky, I'd probably say.
Yeah, it's definitely the job that takes the longest is to edit. I find that as well. Yeah, absolutely.
What do you use to edit your podcasts?
I use Reaper to edit mine.
Oh, okay. Is that quite easy to use and good?
Yeah, it's user friendly. Yeah.
You have to download it, or is it on like the browser?
I had to download it. It's on the laptop software that I've downloaded onto there. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
But and when I do Zoom, I use the software that's on the computer as well, as opposed to doing it through the web page. Because if you do it through the browser, through the software as opposed to the web page, you actually get you can get separate files for each participant, which is very useful for Zoom.
Yeah.
So that's the best way to do it. Like I said, is through the software. Yeah. Go on.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. I might have to try that actually. It's called Reaper.
No, that's with Zoom. It'll give you, if you use the software version of Zoom rather than the online version of Zoom, you've got an option in audio to be able to get different audio for each participant. So that covers if you know how we're doing separate, we're recording our own audio. This way, if you get in touch with somebody that hasn't got their own recording software on the computer, you're getting different files for each person. Then you can individually change the sound for each person. Then there's a different track.
Handy, then.
I think it says something like audio third party recording or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but it's third party something, and it'll give you different files.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely have to use that for the ones that I'm doing now. But yeah, about the time difference again. Like, obviously I'm interviewing Jeffrey Deskovich for my Untitled Chronicles podcast.
Yeah.
And he's doing 11:20 p.m. in the US, so it's like 4 o'clock in the morning in the UK.
Yeah. So
I'm just gonna have
East Coast.
Have to work around the time difference. Yeah.
My head's full of all these different time zones.
Wow, that's impressive. I don't even have a clue when they're on about like Eastern Standard Time. I don't even know. We're like Greenwich Mean Time or something like that, aren't we?
Yeah, we're BST at the moment, aren't we? British Summertime at the moment.
BST. Oh, yeah. British Summertime. Yeah, so your time zones just confuse me, to be honest.
Yeah. So I mean, I've talked to people in Australia, East Coast of US, Mid US. That's a different time zone. West Coast, which is Pacific time, and then you've got when I did Xander and Stone their show, I've said this before, Xander is in China, and Jenna Stone, she's in Arizona. So they're
Oh wow, how does that work?
So Xander is, I think, 8 or 9 hours ahead, and Jenna Stone was 8 hours behind.
So you were just sort of in the middle, like, hey.
Yeah, we technically were having different meals because it was lunchtime, and it was Xander's. For me, it was lunchtime, so it was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Xander, he could have had his supper at 9 o'clock at night, and we woke up Jenna. She was having a breakfast. She'd just woken up about 5-10 minutes earlier to get ready to go and teach at school.
This is Dave of Live Life Loud, the Decibelic podcast, and you're listening to Pods Like Us with Marv.
I'd love to have an Australian person on my podcast. I'd love to go to Australia, actually, for that.
I'd love to go to New Zealand. That looks great there.
Yeah, that looks nice. There's actually a great episode of The Simpsons in Australia. If you've seen that one.
I don't know. Have I seen that? I don't think I've seen that one.
I think it's basically where Bart makes like a call to Australia, and then I can't remember to ask whether the water goes down the plug in a different way.
Okay. Yeah.
And then he's calling this kid, and he's on the phone for like 4 or 5 hours, but it costs them so much. So they make him fly out to Australia for some reason and like give an apology, and then they just get banned from Australia. But I love the Simpsons episodes where they actually go like abroad. They have really good holiday episodes. There's the one where they go to England. That one's really funny. If you've seen that one.
Yes, I've seen that one. Have you watched all 704 episodes then?
I haven't seen all 704 episodes, I'm going to be honest. Because I just think there's like a dip with the quality of it when it gets to... I've probably seen like series 1 to series 22 probably. And then I've probably seen every single Treehouse of Horror, because even every year, like the Treehouse of Horror is still an amazing episode.
Yeah.
But then the ones that are like later dates, like series 29, 30, 31, I haven't like watched many of them yet. So it's going to be an experience when I get to them and see how it compares from like old Simpsons that like I know and love to like the new one now, which I haven't watched that many of. Like I'm more into like classic Simpsons, but I'm still going to watch the new one. Yeah.
Me and you were speaking before the show that Treehouse of Terror, they're favourites of mine. I love all of those. Every time, whichever one, like you said, there's a consistency to those where they're always good, all the way from like, you know, their take on the Raven up to recent ones as well. They're just brilliant.
Yeah, every single Treehouse of Horror I've seen is amazing. What would you say your favourite like segment of the Treehouse Horrors are?
Oh, which one was it? Where was the one where there was the statue or something? And what's the name of that one?
Oh,
the Telltale Heart, is it?
Oh, the Telltale Heart. Is that the one where all the billboards come alive and stuff?
I think so. I think that's the one. Yeah,
that's a good one. I like the zombie one. That one's a great one.
Yeah, I like the one with the aliens as well. The first one with the aliens, that was hilarious.
Oh, yeah, is that the one where the presidency, where I think is it the Bill Clinton presidency, and they're voting for it or something like that, and they come down and they turn into the presidents.
Yes, yep, that's the one. Yeah.
There's another weird one as well where I think there's an episode where like someone's hair comes alive, and I think Homer gets a hair transplant, and the hair transplant starts going like makes him crazy. Oh yeah, but the Shining one is a classic one. Obviously, everyone knows that one.
Yeah.
Where he's like no beer and no TV, make Homer go crazy.
Absolutely.
The Shining.
Yeah, that's brilliant. But then, you know, I think the take on the Raven, I think that is absolutely inspired. I think that's, even to this day, that episode, that story, the way that they tell that it still blows my mind that they can do something as perfect as that with a story that is one of the great horror stories.
Yeah, well, it's just so poetic, that whole like segment, like the way they do it, the way they speak it, like is literally like art. That segment bit is great. And I think that's the first ever Treehouse Horror as well. I think that's season 2 when they did it, I believe.
Yeah, I think that was the first. But the fact that all the visuals, it just matches perfectly to the way that the audio is recorded. So they match perfectly. It matches the story as well, and it's flawless. It's a beautiful piece of work.
It's great. I always find with the best Simpsons episodes, they either have like an emotional impact, or they're either like a parody of like a movie, or like inspired from a movie. Like the Deep Space Homer, that one's good.
Yeah.
Rosebud, I think, what is that, like Citizen Kane?
Yes.
Or something like that.
Yeah, that's Citizen Kane.
Yeah, and every time they just parody a movie, I think that's another great episode as well. And they never get it wrong as well. They always, even episodes up to like the later seasons when they parody movies, are still great.
But the perfect and the respectful of the original product as well, the original films or the original television programs that they're parodying.
Yeah,
they do such a great representation of it that it's just brilliant.
It's more like a homage than a parody. That's what I think I meant to like. But yeah,
Absolutely.
they're just great.
So, will you be using any show music and have any sound bites in your show?
Yeah, so the theme that we're hopefully going to be able to use is, do you know the Ion Springfield, the news bit where I think it's Ken Brockman, it's like how it goes. It's Ion Springfield, like when the news comes up. I think we're going to hopefully use that as a theme song.
That's cool. That's cool.
But that would be quite cool.
It would.
Yeah, we still need to make like theme and like sound bites, like to intercept everything.
Yeah. So what's your take on using like clips from the programs, or is that possible, or you're looking into that?
That's a point actually. I'm not sure. Like I'd have to look into it because I don't know if we're allowed to do it because maybe like copyright reasons. But then I'm saying if I've got people on the show that did the show, like surely that's allowed because they sort of made it. So that's something we're gonna have to like work around and find out about. But it would be great to use clips on the show, and it'd be great as well to like have a recorded version where like there's a bit clips that we watch and we can actually put on like a YouTube channel so people can actually visually watch it as well.
That would be cool. But then again, since you've already got arranged with Yeardley Smith, perhaps you could ask her and see what she suggests, because she might actually be she would be more in the know as to what you can do, and even possibly be able to talk to the right people, maybe.
Yeah, that's true. There's another Simpsons podcast on Spotify that I've seen. It's called The Simpsons is Greater Than, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
And he gets like people on as well and talks about it. They don't watch the episodes though, but they just like talk about like how it was like writing on the writing staff and how it was voicing the characters on The Simpsons, and they've got some pretty big names on there. So I'd love to get him on the show as well, because I follow him on Instagram, and he's like, his collection of The Simpsons stuff is insane. I don't know if you've seen his Instagram, but his house is like full to the brim with like Simpsons memorabilia, and it's just insane.
Yeah, send me a link to that, and I'll check it out.
Yeah, so I'll send you the username.
Cool.
G'day. This is Matty C from the Astros Fantasy Football Podcast, way down in Australia. And we love getting to listen to Marv meet new podcasters from all over the world here on the Pods Like Us podcast.
So have you got a structure in place for each episode?
Yeah, so we're going to have structures like, as in, I'll have facts about each episode, and we'll just discuss each one, like how it changes from like previous episodes, how, because there's a great like bit in like the first, I don't know if it's the first episode, second episode, where Smithers is with Mr. Burns, but Smithers is actually black in the second episode, but then in the next episode he's like, they've changed him to be yellow,
Yep.
So that's like, I'd love to talk about like why they've done that and stuff like that. So we're just going to get like we're going to watch the episode, get a couple of facts and then like key points to talk about. And we're just going to like see where it goes from there.
Yep. And also just going back to something from earlier on, I love the idea that you've got of asking the people involved what their favourites are and hopefully possibly getting them involved. I think that's great. So you could possibly see Hank Azaria picking a favourite or Dan Costello, can't pronounce his name.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a great idea as well.
Yeah, it's like asking them like what their favourite character is to play as well, because they all got different voices. I'd want to know their favourite episodes as well, and it would just be, I'd love to get them all on. Like, it would be good to get them all on in one episode as well. I don't know how possible that would be though.
Did you ever see? What was it? I think I saw in the Actors Studio. There used to be a show called that, and they actually had all of the Simpsons voice actors all together for an episode of In the Actors Studio, and that was brilliant. And then they were riffing off each other in character as well.
It would feel so bizarre, like just being there, like watching it.
But they're all just sat there on, I think there's 2 or 3 tiers of chairs, and it was insane watching them go into character and respond in character to each other. So you'd have like Nancy Cartwright would be doing Bart, and does she do Nelson as well? I can't remember. But, and then you'd have Harry Shearer doing Apu and Mr. Burns, and crazy. It's if you've not seen it, you should check it out. See if you can find it online. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I'll definitely watch it. It sounds like a bizarre experience to be in that room.
It would, yep. So before you do each show then, what sort of research would you be doing? Would you be doing like, IMDb to get facts and things like that?
Yeah, that as well. And then just talking to people that were on the show as well and like produced the show, animated for the show. Talk to them to get any facts about it. I'm actually watching the episode and just seeing what everything's like in the episode. IMDb is quite a good one to get like trivia from as well, to be fair. So that's a shout.
Yeah, that's cool.
Hey there, this is Bobby with the Rock Guys Podcast, and you are listening to Marv Smooth on the Pods Like Us podcast. Check him out.
So, what other podcasts do you listen to?
So I listen to quite a few podcasts. So let me get my Spotify up so I can just name a couple off the top of my head. But obviously I listen to like the big ones like Jack Mate's Happy Hour, if you've listened to that one.
Yep.
The Bob and Gob show, I love them. I had them on my show before. They're great. True Geordie as well. I love the True Geordie. I listen to a lot of crime ones as well. There's one called I Could Murder a Podcast, which is great.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like a satire one as well. Crime Laps is great. I listen to Court Case as well. That podcast is really great. Yeah. I love a lot of after show podcasts as well. So like, because I'm really into like sitcoms and TV. So I love there's one of Scrubs called Fake Doctors, Real Friends.
Yeah.
It's got the 2 actors from Scrubs. There's an Office one as well, which is great if you like the US Office. I know a lot of people are split between the UK and the US Office. So that's and then there's one called What I'm Mad About Today, which is good. And there's an OC one as well, which I really like. So I listen to quite a lot as well. And yeah, they're probably like the main ones.
That's cool. Yeah, I've already recorded a show with James from Court Case. I think James is brilliant.
Yeah, he's great. We have one scheduled to do one in a couple of weeks, so I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, we've both been talking, me and James, about the fact that we both love Simpsons. We were talking about that yesterday.
It'd be good to get on the Simpsons one, actually.
Yeah, I know that he'd like to, because he said yesterday he'd like to be on it.
Yeah, I'll message him about the Simpsons one, because I'm going to get him on my Untitled Chronicles one. We're doing a murder case on that one. He's on like a road show now, I'm pretty sure, like driving around the country doing shows, which is crazy.
So, what advice would you give to people starting their own podcast for the first time?
Yeah, so I would just say stick with it. Like, it can be difficult at times, like, because sometimes when you start your first few episodes, you feel like no one's listening. But I think the main reason you do it is like for yourself, because you love like creating the content.
Yeah,
I think it's just a great way to express yourself, and people will listen. So like, just remember, like, consistency is key. So if you keep doing it, people will eventually listen and people will love it. Like I haven't been going for a very long time, and I even get messages saying, like, from like random people saying they listen to the show and they like it, which is like the best thing to hear. So yeah, my main advice would be to just stick with it and carry on doing it.
Absolutely. So where can people find the shows, both shows that you do, and get in touch with you?
Yeah, so the Untitled Chronicles one, it's on Spotify now. I think we're about 18 or 19 episodes in. We're on season 2 now, so we're recording that one. They can find us on Spotify for that one and iTunes. And we're just at the Untitled Chronicles on Instagram and Twitter. And for the Doh'cast one, on Instagram, we're at the Simpsons Pod. And then if you go on Spotify at the minute, the Simpsons Doh'cast, if you type that in, it will come up. And we're not on iTunes yet, but we have to wait till we release our first episode to be on iTunes. So we will be on iTunes soon. And then on Twitter as well, it's the Simpsons Pod as well. So yeah, just the Simpsons Pod on Instagram, and then you'll find us.
I'm taking note of these so I can put them in the show notes.
Oh yeah, thank you.
That's all right. Anyway, thank you very much for speaking with me today, Morgs.
Yeah, great. It's been so fun to be on. I'd love to get you on to watch an episode of The Simpsons.
Oh, I'm definitely up for that, and I think Louise would be up for that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll try. We'll get you both on to watch one of your favourite episodes.
That's cool. That'd be great. Great. And thank you everybody for listening, and I hope you listen again to another episode of Pods Like Us.
Hi, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yep.
Oh, sorry, I don't know what's going on with my.
It's okay.
I haven't used it for a while. So.
Right. So.
Is the sound okay?
Yeah, the sound's all right. Yep. You got any way of being able to record yourself at your end?
Yeah, I can do that. That's fine.
Yeah. Because if you do that and there's any cutouts, then we've got a clearer signal.
Yeah.
Send me the file.
Yeah, that's fine. It's recorded now.
Okay. Yeah, I'm doing mine as well. So, how is everything then? You know, everything all right with you?
Yeah, good. Thank you. How are you guys?
Yep.
Is there two of you there? Sorry. Yeah.
What's that, Morgs?
Is there two of you there? I thought I heard someone else.
Oh, my other half is sat at the side of me.
How long have you been doing your podcast for?
October. That's when it
started. Wow.
Yeah. I think I've recorded over 50 episodes so far.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I've got another podcast, so this is like my second one.
Okay. What's the other one then?
It's called The Untitled Chronicles. It's kind of like a crime podcast.
Cool. He does a crime podcast as well. There you go. One for you there.
Do you like Criminal Minds?
All right. Does he like Criminal Minds? You know, I keep saying you should have a microphone.
No, I study criminology, so yeah, I love all stuff crime.
Yeah. He studied criminology, so he loves all things to do with crime.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm terrible. I watch programs about serial killers and all sorts. I'm terrible.
Yeah. I said I should have given you a microphone and headphones. You two could just gab for ages and then we'll forget the show altogether.
Talk raves about crime and stuff.
Oh, honestly, I could talk for ages about criminology.
Yeah, so can Louise. She watches all programs about serial killers and everything and has her own opinions.
Yeah. All the Netflix ones are great. I like them.
Oh, yes, all the Netflix documentaries and everything. Yeah, they're brilliant. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because when I do get the chance to look at my own Netflix, I'll come to it and all these things that are showing are actually recommendations based on what Louise has been watching with my Netflix account. So I'll go on looking for looking for like sci-fi, thinking, oh, I'm going to have all these sci-fi suggestions, and it's all crime programs.
No, yeah. Do you like Futurama as well?
Yes, I love Futurama. Yeah. I see Wiener.
Yeah.
I think that was the
my
first.
dog's actually named after Seymour from Futurama.
Oh, brilliant! Named his dog after the dog from Futurama. Seymour. Yeah. Trying to remember now. It's years since I've seen Futurama. Seymour. What sort of dog is it?
Cockapoo.
A cockapoo. There you go. Yeah. You sure you don't want a set of headphones?
What, listen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Go and get your headphones. Go on.
Oh, my normal ones.
Yes. Or get mine, and you can have these. You can have my professional cans. Let's have a look.
Are you guys married?
Are we married? No.
Yeah.
No. Wish
How long
we
have you
were.
been together?
How long have we been together?
16
Yeah.
years.
Yes, this time, yeah. 16 years, but we've known each other for over 30 years.
16 years. Well,
yeah.
That's nearly like longer than I've been alive.
Oh dear.
What?
He says that's almost as long as he's been alive.
Well, like, I'm 22, so.
I feel old now.
Dear. I don't know.
21 in their heads.
Oh dear. Even since October, I'm still nervous about doing all this. Dear me.
Yeah, so on my other podcast, I've not really had any like guests on. Really, it's just like sort of like me and my mates like talking about it.
All right.
But tomorrow night I've got like this guy coming on called Jeffrey Deskovich, and he's an exonerated criminal. So he's someone that spent like 16 years in prison for like a crime he didn't commit.
Yeah, he was on a recent episode of Court Case with James Court.
Yeah, I've listened to that one. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like going to be like a big one that I'm doing.
Well, I'm hoping that some people from Simpsons will contact you and want to be on your show, actually.
Yeah, well, I've got. Do you know the voice of Lisa Simpson?
Wow.
So she has her own podcast as well. It's called Small Town Dicks.
Okay.
I just messaged her on Instagram because she doesn't have that many followers, so I was able to like contact her.
Cool.
But we haven't like arranged what episode we're going to do yet.
Wow.
But obviously, I want to do like a Lisa centric episode.
Yeah, like the what's that early one where she meets Bleeding Lips or whatever his name is?
Oh, Bleeding Gum Murphy. Yeah, that's a good one.
That one. That's a Lisa centric one.
Yeah, and Lisa goes to Washington. That one as well is good.
That's a good one. Yeah.
And Lisa the vegetarian. I like that one as well too.
Yeah. It's crazy how all of them do so many voices of different characters. Yeah.
It is crazy. Like I don't like how, and Hank Azaria as well. He has like incredible range of like all the voices.
Yeah. We're going into
There's
what
like
should
murder.
be. Yeah. We're talking about what
Yeah.
should be in the show here, aren't we?
Oh yeah, true.
I was going to ask him something.
You were going to ask him something. Hold on then. There you go.
Did you see the Netflix series about that Stephen Avery, who was in prison for was it 20 years for something he didn't do, and then he came out, and then they got him again for something else?
Oh yeah, is that Making a Murderer?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, I've seen the first series of that. That's really good. One that I really love is The Staircase. If you've seen that one.
Yes, yeah, I've seen that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really interesting one.
Yeah. Do you think Stephen did either of those things?
What was it that he was supposed to have done? I know the first one was murder, wasn't it? But what was the second one?
I think he was supposed to have attacked this woman, so he ended up going back
don't know,
into prison
see,
for that.
I feel like he didn't do the first one, but I think he could have done the second one.
Yeah, I don't think he did the first one either. But he's still
Yeah.
in prison, as far as I know. He's still in prison.
Yeah, I think he's still in there.
Yeah.
Do you think I think his name Michael Peterson did the Staircase one?
I think I did it. I mean, it's a while since I saw it, a few months back, but
Yeah,
I think at the beginning I absolutely thought he was guilty.
yeah,
Some things just didn't, ring true. But I think I left watching it thinking that he didn't. But I think sometimes there's always that bit of nagging doubt, But I don't know. I just thought it was fascinating. But
yeah. It happened to both his wives as well. That's the crazy thing.
yeah. So, but yeah, I love anything like that. Yeah. Right.
Flipping out. You sure you two don't want to do a podcast together?
Yeah, we could start our own like Netflix crime podcast.
But I've always found crime interesting, even when I was at school. Forensics and crime and everything, handwriting analysis, everything.
Yeah.
It's just
So interesting.
just fascinating field, all of it. I would fake it.
Just like anything in police.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
dream job.
Faking it, Tears of a Crime. Love them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lisa Simpson's crime podcast is really good.
Right.
She has a crime.
So you saw that I posted up yesterday about your page so that I could get people hopefully checking you out.
Yeah.
And what else as well? And also sent a few people, links as well to hopefully be able to follow you, which included quite a number of podcasters.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
That's all right. Gil from the Mind Buzz, he's going to be contacting you soon because he said he loves the Simpsons, so he said he'll contact you and he's hoping that he can have you on before your show starts to give you a bit of a boost as well before it comes up. And
that would be great. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'd love to have you on like one of the episodes as well, like coming on, so that we could watch an episode and talk about it.
I think that's a cool idea. Yeah.
Did you tell me what the ones we watched yesterday?
Yeah, I think.
I'll have you both on. I'll have you both.
Yeah, he saw that he saw yesterday that we were watching Simpsons.
Yeah, you watched one of my favorite episodes of all time.
Was it the Chili Festival?
The Chili Festival.
Yeah. The Mysterious Voyage of Homer.
But then we couldn't stop him. You know how it is on these streaming networks. You just leave them to play, and it played the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one after.
The X-File one.
Yeah. Yes.
That's a good one as well.
It is. So many good ones. It's amazing how they keep it.
I've got like a list of my top 10 in my phone.
Wow. I don't know if I can make a top 10.
It's very hard. I tried to do it yesterday and it was very hard to do.
It's even when people say to me, what are your top 10 Beatles songs? I can't even pick 10, best, and try and figure out which of my top 10 of those or anything. Right, let's get the paperwork out and start this officially. It's Docherty, isn't it, Morgs? Yep.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So let's go for this. Yeah. You know, you're writing notes and you're putting me off what I'm doing here. I've got to, I've got to edit all these bits out, don't you? Sorry. Louise says it looks like you've got a Captain. It's a Captain America shield at the back of him.
What, Captain America shield?
Is it just underneath in your shelf? So just to the right of where you are. Is that a Captain America shield in there, or is it something else?
This is like some weird little unicorn thing. I'm at my girlfriend's house.
All right, I meant the red, white, and blue thing.
Oh, this thing.
No, to the right of where your unicorn was, below the books. So you got the books there, and then that bit below the books.
Oh, this.
Where the notebooks are.
Oh,
yep. Below there.
Oh, here.
What's that? What's that?
Oh, it's just like a mirror with the light on. I don't know.
It's a mirror. It's how it comes through on the.
It does. I can kind of see it now. I can actually kind of see it in the light. It does kind of look like a bit ominous. It's like a little light up mirror.
I'm gonna edit that out there. Thanks.
It's funny. It's funny to keep in too, but
that'll be in the post show, that, won't it?
I'm just like, what?
So, what advice would you give to people starting their own podcast for the first time? How was that, Morgs? That okay?
Yeah, that was great. Thank you. Yeah, it was amazing. It's the first time I've ever been interviewed, so I was just like, oh wow, but it's great. Like, you did really well. Like,
thank you.
Thanks for having me on. It was great.
Even now, I still get nervous and think I'm making mistakes.
No, yeah, it's natural, like, to be nervous. I think everyone is nervous on a podcast. Like, I've never really, but you can't. The good thing is, like, you can never hear it when you listen to it back. So that's the best thing.
That's cool. And eventually, I'm going to try, once we come out of lockdown, hopefully to get to actually chat to people in person, at least UK.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
And then see how that is, because I'm wondering if that might be a lot easier to speak to people than over Zoom or whatever. Yeah,
I think that would be a lot better. And I feel like it's like the flow is easier. Like, I've done ones in real life, because sometimes when you're over Zoom, like, you don't know when the other person's gonna talk or stop talking. So it's kind of like a bit that you don't know when it's gonna happen. So, but then in real life, it's kind of like you can naturally see it. So I feel like that's one of the biggest challenges that I've faced, about when you don't know when to talk, because you don't know if the other person's going to talk, if you know what I mean.
That's true. And because I've got a problem with my network and I don't use video so much, you also can't see that they can't see if I'm about to say anything either. So normally, if you're talking to people in person, you can see that they're wanting to say something. So that's tricky as well.
And another big thing as well for the podcast is like using filler words. Like, I always say like as well, but I have to like actively think in my head, do not say like that.
Yes, I know what you mean. You just constantly listen back to yourself.
Jarring filler words.
You hear all the and
yeah.
Like all these things. It teaches you to be a bit. You start to become a bit self-conscious of things that you say because of podcasting.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, but thanks for having me on. That was it was really great. I'm gonna I'll put a link on both my podcasts as well, and I'll follow you on my other podcast as well, because I don't think I follow you on the Untitled Chronicles one.
No, and I'll follow you back, of course.
But yeah, it'd be good to get you two on that one as well. If we could talk about like a crime one or anything like that, it'd be funny.
Yes, Louise, I think she was nodding about that earlier on as well, and saying she'd fancy that. Yeah, when we were talking about that.
That would be great. Yeah.
I'd just sit down and be thinking to myself, I've got no idea what they're both on about.
Yeah. No, but it'd be a fun one.
Hold on, Morgs.
Have you seen the Netflix series called, I think it's I Am a Killer?
Oh, no, I don't think I've watched that one.
It's
a good one to check out.
sort of real crime where they interview people in prison about what they've done.
Oh, that sounds interesting. Is it on Netflix?
Yes. Yeah. It's quite good.
Oh, I'll try to watch that one tonight. That sounds good.
I've watched all sorts. I mean, it's hard to keep track, but I think sometimes you feel a bit guilty about watching them because it's
Yeah, I know what you mean.
real life and everything. But they go into why they did the things they did, and it sort of traces what happened to them, why they did it, and how they ended up being in prison. But I think it's I'm a Killer. That's it.
Yeah,
that's quite good.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
There's so many. I mean, there's tons of ones about prison as well. I watched one recently. Some people normal everyday people from different backgrounds went into prison undercover. There was
I've seen that. It's very good. 90 days in.
Yes, or 60. This was 60. Yeah, 60
yeah,
days
that's very good.
I
60 days in, yeah.
kind of binged that one.
Yeah, that's a really good one, actually. I've seen that one. That's great.
Yeah.
I think you'd actually like the podcast Life of a Lifer, where this woman, she actually talks to people who are in American institutions for life, and she talks to them about the crimes that they've done and the stories behind how they ended up becoming the way that they were, and about their life stories basically. And that's fascinating, where she has a different person each episode and she's talking to them and getting the information about them. I think you'd probably find that fascinating.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. I'll check that out as well. I'll write a note of that one.
Yep, Life of a Lifer.
Life of a Lifer. Yeah, that sounds good. It's raining outside now. I've got to walk to work.
Oh dear. Anyway, Morgs, thank you very much, mate. I'll catch you again soon.
Yeah, it was so good to have you on. I'll message you some more in the chat, and I'll put everything out when you release the podcast.
All right. Thanks for this. That was lots of fun. It's great.
Yeah, it was great. See you guys later.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Take care. Bye. Bye.